Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Ask Engineer. It's me, Ladyada. With me, Mr. Ladyada. We're here at the Adafruit factory. That's the real background. This is where we do all of our manufacturing and kitting and shipping and designing and videoing, as we're doing right now. We've got a jam-packed show for you. 1 hour of the latest news in maker, hacker, artist, engineer, news and more, products, videos, tutorials. It's all here, plus some cool retro stuff. What's on tonight's show, Mr. Ladyada?
On tonight's show, the code is WizKit, 10% off in the Adafruit store, all the way up to 11:59 p.m. Or if I crash out and I fall asleep and don't turn the code off, you might be able to use it a little bit longer. But load up your cart now, and don't forget to save 10% off. It supports us, an open source hardware company manufacturing here in New York City. Talk about some Adafruit Live series of shows that we do each week, including Show and Tell. We just did that a few moments ago. Time travel, look around the world, makers, hackers, artists, and engineers, and more. Retro tech, we got a bunch of cool things that we've been sharing online. Some things that'll bring back memories, and then some things that a lot of people haven't even seen before.
Some I've never seen it.
From the mailbag, your letters, tweets, and more to our team. We read those. Help wanted, some jobs from the jobs board at Adafruit, jobs.adafruit.com. You can post your jobs, or you can post the skills you have, and we approve all of these to make sure it's all legit. And check it out if you want to either get someone amazing to work for your company or your organization or your project, or post up your skills if you're looking to get out there in the world and do some projects with people.
Yeah.
I have some made in New York City factory footage, some 3D printing, eye on MPI, new products, top secret. We answer your questions. We do that over on Discord, adafruit.it/Discord, where there's about 33,000 of us.
We're all friendly.
24/7. Hang out there.
Even
when we're not live.
Friends?
Yeah, you have 33,000 friends when you join there. All that and more on, you guessed it, Ask an Engineer. Okay. First up, before we do some show things, I wanted to give some folks some updates, and obviously we live in the world, so we should talk about some other stuff. So as of right now, as you can see, we're not wearing masks in New York. The protocols are starting to change. We're completely alone here right now, and we're able to not wear masks. We also live together, vaccinated. Our team is still wearing masks in all the different common areas, and then depending on the situation where they're at, what they're doing, they're making smart decisions and taking off their masks. It's time. We went to a concert. Things are starting to change pretty rapidly, and the numbers are looking pretty good. I think in New York City, the positivity rate is like almost under 1%. We're inching closer and closer and closer. It hasn't been this low since like July of last year. So for folks that are, trying to figure out what's going to happen next, or if you're running a business, we're in New York City, and it's been really challenging for the last couple of years, but the direction is still going in the right way. Just wanted to let folks know things are going good, and we're looking forward to this being a chapter that we got through in the best ways possible together. Next up, New York City right now, as you can imagine, because we have the largest Ukrainian population in the world besides Ukraine. That might change because of the refugee situation soon. This was Washington Square Park. We went to a peace demonstration. Folks got together and basically wanted to say, hey, we don't want to be invaded. So we don't know what's going to happen, and we don't know how this is going to affect things. But obviously, this is a good example of how we all need to advance the cause of peace, building things together, sharing good values together, because this is going to be a thing that is going to affect all of us very soon. One of the things that I thought I'd mention is this show that you're watching right now is powered by a Ukrainian company, Restream.io. They have 2 locations, one, capital of Ukraine, and they've been working to get their employees out and help them, and then Austin, Texas. And so if you want to find out more about a company that, if you're watching Ask an Engineer, you're watching something that has a big impact on some people's lives. So they put together a good resource page over on Restream. So just go to restream.io, and let me go to the computer over here. For resources, especially for the humanitarian efforts, that's where I think we're all going to be able to have the biggest impact. Check out the places you can donate. the relief for families that are going to other locations, the Ukrainian Red Cross Society. And I know that there's a lot of caution that you should have if you're going to donate money or figure out what you can do. But these folks for sure are on the ground and they're doing what they can to get the word out. So that is what's going on here. We'll continue to provide updates and more as we have them. But, we're all hoping for peace, and it's not good.
Sucks.
Okay. So let's kick it off, Lady Ada,
Yeah.
and start the show. Like I mentioned, WizKit is the code. If people are adding things to their cart, they get free stuff.
That's right. We're still doing freebies. When you order from Adafruit.com, $99 or more, you get a free Permaproto half-size breadboard. It's great for making your projects permanent from a solderless breadboard. $149 or more, you get a free Stemma QT board. We have various sensors and devices available. And $299 or more, you get $199 or more, you get free UPS ground shipping in the continental United States.
Okay, we have a live series of shows that we do every single week. We just finished up one of our longest running ones, Show and Tell. We were on the Show and Tell this week, Lady Ada. We had a bunch of folks on the Show and Tell.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make a suggestion. Folks should watch it after this show, of course. You can check out any of our channels. But there was Paint Your Dragons Book Club of the month. That's what I'm calling this. And it was about Pixar, and it was the biography of the founder of Pixar.
No, the biography of the Pixel.
The Pixel, sorry. I thought it was Pixel.
He worked at Pixar.
Sorry, he worked at Pixar.
And so he worked on the Pixel.
That's right. Sorry. I'm getting my Pixars and Pixels confused. I know. But it was really neat because it was all about the original formats, like what is an alpha channel and how things like Toy Story eventually came along. But I thought that was really neat. And then I showed off this pop-up book. Because I said if Phil B shows a book, I'll show a book. This is the book that I showed. This is Inside the Personal Computer. And it's a pop-up book that has a bunch of retro computer things. Well, they're retro now. At the time, maybe they weren't. And really good explainer on how computers work and more. It's still relevant. And then this is my favorite page. This is the one with the floppy drive. And then the last page has...
I have to show the floppy disk.
You want to show this?
Hold on, I'm just going to grab it carefully. It says hard to remove as a normal floppy disk.
Yeah. All right.
Floppy disk.
And then there's floppy disk there. And then this is cathode, how that works. And then this is a printer. I like this one because it's beep, 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 beep. So anyways, check that out. Good book recommendations on the show this week. Desk of Lady Ada, that's a show that we do every single Sunday.
Correct.
Lady Ada, what was on the show? What was on Desk of Lady Ada Part 1 this week?
Well, I showed up. I've been working more on Pi camera stuff this weekend. It's a ESP32S2 board with an OV5640 camera and a TFT display and some buttons so you can take photos and save them. I demoed that. We also showed how we're working on the Atari Video Music Machine. It's this kind of cool old 70s retro stereo system addendum thing that will create cool visual effects based on audio input, and it had RF input, and I just showed how I changed that to be NTSC.
Okay, then we have the Great Search, and the Great Search is when you use all your powers of engineering to find things on digikey.com. What did you look for this week?
Right. So what I want to do for the Atari Video Music Machine is I want to change it from being NTSC to S-Video because S-Video will give you slightly better color quality because the color is separated, the chroma is separated from the luma. Color and brightness are on separate channels. So I went and showed how I got a perfectly fitting panel mount S-Video connector. So it'll replace the RF connector because almost no monitors these days have RF input anymore. It's very, very rare. We removed the RF cable in a way that you can be, of course, replaced later. And we're going to add S-Video output, which will be converted to HDMI.
All right. And then we had JP's product pick of the week. We do that on Tuesday. That's where we broadcast live inside the product page, and you get a discount automatically. You don't have to put in a code or anything. Here is this week's highlight from product pick of the week from JP.
7-segment Stemma QT backpack. It has that HT16K33 multiplexer there that deals with all of the pins of all these many, many LEDs. And then you get to talk to it right over Stemma QT. So here you can see I have one. This is the red, and then I've put a little bit of a diffusing gel over it. So here, this is actually scrolling the IP address that this little cutie pie with its little antenna there are picking up on my router. So I flash all the lights on, off, run a little animation a few times, say IP address, and then I'll blink a little bit while I'm waiting for that to come up. And this is actually a routine. This blink routine is built right into the library as well. So now once it grabs that address, it kind of scoots that other characters off there and just starts running my address on here. The 4-digit 7-segment backpack with Stemma QT.
Okay, JP's workshop is tomorrow, and JP sent me this video right before our shows. This is a cool thing that you can do with, if it's the
ESP32,
you could do
with PSRAM.
Video out. Yeah, so check this out. Is there anything the ESP32 can't do?
It can do anything, just weirdly.
All right, and then we also have a CircuitPython parsec. We do these every Thursday. Here is the latest one.
For the CircuitPython parsec today, I want to show some more display I/O stuff. This time, it's going to be positioning. I've got this little pill shape. This is actually a round rectangle, and I've set it up on this OLED feather wing so that I can use the A and C buttons to slide this left and right, move that around, kind of like a little paddle in Arkanoid or Breakout, and I can also hit the B button to reset it. First of all, we're going to import some libraries, including the display I/O library, and in this case, the display shape's round rectangle. Then I set up the display and I create this object right here. The round rect is a round rect, and I position it at 0 and a particular height, as well as a width and height of the object. I'm deriving those from the display itself, so this is somewhat portable code. And then I'm setting this to have a radius of 8 around those corners. I fill it black and put a little white outline on it with a stroke of 1. Then, as I, in the main loop of the program, adjust buttons, we're simply changing the position. So I have a variable called xpos, and I'm either subtracting from it or adding to it. And then I'm updating the object with this line right here, roundrect.x equals xpos. So as that x position changes, so does the position of the round rectangle. The middle button here sets this to be center of the screen, and then the button on the right adds to it. And so that's a really simple way to use the X positioning on an object inside of display I/O to move things around. And that is your CircuitPython parsec.
All right, and then on Friday, deep dive with Scott. This is the last one Scott's doing. Well, he's on paternity leave, so Tim Foamy Guy will be taking the reins for a little bit while Scott's out. So tune in on Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern.
All Winamp every week when Foamy Guy's
There's a lot of it. All right, time travel. All right, first up for time travel, just a little bit of reminder, we should be shipping AdaBox soon. We are subject to the same part shortage as everyone else, so we're calling this a winter-spring edition. Thanks for your patience, of course. If you want to drop out, that's okay. There's a lot of people who want to get into that slot, but we also appreciate that you're waiting as parts come in, and they are starting to. It's just a little slower than I think everyone on planet Earth would like, but no surprise, I'm sure everyone's aware of this. For all the things that they want and need, there's always a little bit of a delay right now. This is Women's History Month. We just wrapped up Black History Month on the site, and we got a lot going on the site. So if you check our blog, adafruit.com/blog, or blog.adafruit.com, you can look at a few things. We have a Celebrating Women Maker Guide. I want to go to the site and let me try to get here. It's Valentine's Guide. We have a lot of things celebrating
There you go.
women makers. So you can see that here. You can go to our blog. It's one of our featured blog posts. And if you want to support women makers, you can check out the guide and not only look at the Learn Guides, but you can look at products that we stock from amazing women who make and sell electronics, book authors, and more. So we'll have blog posts every single day. And if there's someone amazing who happens to be a woman for Women's History Month, just send us an email and we'll get it up on the blog. Mailbag. All right, Pack the Mailbag is here. And this week, this week I thought we would do a tweet. So we get emails, we get forum posts, sometimes people leave us voicemail messages, but I try to mix it up a little bit. This week, this is from Kevin. Kevin says, the Adafruit learning system is literally second to none. I recommend it to anyone who wants to learn robotics, electronics, and programming. This is what world class looks like. Thank you, Kevin.
I kind of like that saying, second to none.
Second to none.
Because like second to none is one, so
Yeah.
it's number one. But like, why say that when you can say
Okay.
second to none?
All right. Every single week, usually 7 days a week now, we're publishing a bunch of retro tech stuff. So this is stuff from the past. Most of the time it's technology. Sometimes tomorrow is going to be a little bit of a different one. Sometimes, science fiction related maybe.
Oh.
But we show these so you get inspiration on how things used to be designed or how electronics has changed. Or maybe you had one of these things when you were younger, maybe someone told you about it, or you just want to think about designing something so it's not just a black rectangle. And this week, we have a few things. This is a very weird and rare Nintendo keyboard called the ASCII. And
It looks fake, but it's not.
It looks fake, and it was only for like one specific game. And it works with the GameCube, and this is a full-on keyboard and a game controller.
It looks so heavy.
That's right.
It's got the little trigger knobs. We could have had this as our future.
Well, it's still not too late. So you could check it out. We also posted photos of the packaging. I think the packaging from the 90s is also really neat and how things were made and displayed. Next up, we have the Coleco Zodiac astrology computer. I posted up a preview and I said, what do you think this is? And folks said, it's a Stargate. It's a handheld Stargate. So what this does, you enter in your birthday, your information, and then you get your horoscope.
Ooh.
Comes with a book, and we have a full blog post on how to use
man.
it, along with the history. And Sydney Omar is the astrologer behind this, so
Oh,
you can
dude.
so you can read all about it.
Wait, is that Sydney in the middle there?
And I know. And we also have a commercial from the 80s in it. So check this out.
Wow.
Mattel made a competing one as well. So that's kind of neat. You just don't see electronics that look like this anymore.
I love Coleco because it's like, they're like a leather company, and they're like, but we're going to get into computers.
That's
and they
right.
actually made some good stuff.
And speaking of unique form factors, I previewed this a little bit. This is the Defiant from Deep Space Nine CD player.
Right.
And the best thing to play is, of course, the Deep Space Nine original soundtrack. So you listen to it with your Starfleet issue headphones, and here's a little bit of a video. Then we posted up a guess what this
What
is.
is this?
We've been doing this each day. So he said, guess what this is. And usually it's a close-up of the photos that we post a little bit later. This is the Polaroid Onyx. special edition clear
Look at
Polaroid
this,
camera.
Look at this bitchin' clear camera.
There was a time and place where if you wanted to do something special and show
It's
your
not
technology
even clear.
off.
It's like that weird, like brownish clear.
That's right.
That we really don't make stuff with this.
You had one of these when you
tint.
got your DeLorean.
This was, yeah.
And so this is the Onyx,
It's like a
and
shade
it
of
was an
brown.
anniversary edition for the Polaroid. Really cool, and it just goes to show you don't have to design things that hide all the electronics. You can show them proudly.
Lady Gaga should have just re-released this.
Yeah, well, yeah, she was, just for those who were wondering the reference, you know, Polaroid is kind of more of a holding company right now. They license out the brand, so for a limited period of time, I think they had Lady Gaga as the creative director. I don't think anything came out of it. The other thing is this is the box, Polaroid Spectre System, Onyx, and this is a hologram. Back when we used to put holograms on things.
It's so futuristic.
Yeah, so this gives you a little, you know,
What, is it like some sort of weird ray trace thing in the back?
this is the box that came in.
No, inside the box. What's that like weird?
It's a photo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of the future.
yeah. So tune into the blog and social media and all sorts of places where we post content and more, and you'll see more of these things. Just look at this. It's a beautiful,
Gorgeous.
beautiful camera. Okay. Help wanted. Okay, you can go to jobs@adafruit.com, post your jobs up, or post your skills this week. There's a few, but I just wanted to post up this one. This is from Six Paths Consulting. It's remote, and it's consultancy on a power monitoring project. So if you ever used any of Adafruit's hardware, do power monitoring, guess what? You probably could do this job. All right. Python on hardware time, Lady Ada.
I'm ready.
All right, we have a bunch going on in the world of Python on hardware. First up, I guess big news is Moo.
1.1.1?
1.1.1.1.1.
1.1? I don't remember the exact
1.1.1.1.1.
version, but it's out.
It is out. There's a neat little making of Moo video. But if you go to the Moo site, and I'll go here, you could check out all of the new features, updates, and more. Nicholas posted up a video. It's a little bit of a time lapse. It has all of the
Yeah.
contributions over
Yeah, I'm
the
in there.
years. Yeah,
I'm in there.
and you could see all the people and the faces because software is made by people. But there's fixes, there's updates, there's more language translations in there. So if you're using this, check it out, and onward to Moo 2.0. I know a lot of folks
Moo
out
is
there
such
use
a
it.
great beginner IDE.
Yep, it's our favorite one. CircuitPython 7.2.0 release, so far so good. We haven't had any bug reports or really anything, so we think this one's really solid. 7.2.0 is out the door. Please download it, try it out. We do have ESP32, S3, S2 support in there now.
Yeah, S3 and C3 is
C3.
coming. We're still fixing a lot of bugs, updates. Keep posting up your issues because we're squishing bugs, whenever we add more capabilities. But async is really well supported now. So if you want to do concurrency processing code, please try out async and let us know how it goes.
Okay. Yeah, it was often asked for. Then we celebrated 10 years of Raspberry Pi.
Wow.
10 years.
been a decade.
I remember when we decided to stock the Raspberry Pi.
I remember.
I know-
I remember the first time.
I
used
know
one.
where we were when
Yeah.
we decided, and 10 years goes by pretty fast. So
Also very slowly.
yeah. Check out the blog post on raspberrypi.org, the interview with Evan, and I think one of the things that you've said about it is one of the things that really popularized Python, because a Raspberry Pi, the Pi doesn't just stand for Pi.
I mean, Python for hardware, this was an essential part of the CircuitPython journey as well, because we had been doing, before CircuitPython or MicroPython, we had been doing, we had ported our libraries over to the Raspberry Pi so people could use the hardware that we'd originally written in Arduino. We would port it over to Python. And so starting the idea of having SPI and I2C bus support and how to talk to registers in Python, and a lot of that stuff got turned into CircuitPython, the way that CircuitPython works for us. So it's all been one big story and trying to make everything very cohesive.
All right. And then congratulations, Paul, for launching CircuitPython Show.
Yay.
So episode 1 is with Kattni. I wanted to play the trailer, and then I'll see you on the other side. Trailer's only 15 seconds.
Welcome to the CircuitPython Show. I'm your host, Paul Cutler. Each episode I'll be in conversation with someone doing something with or near CircuitPython and its community. In this first episode, I'll be talking with Kattni Rembor. Kattni is a mentor, maker, open source community leader, technical writer, and embedded software developer. She's sponsored by Adafruit to work on CircuitPython.
And you can watch it on YouTube if you want to. You can download it with your favorite, people still call them podcatchers? I don't know if they call them that, I did. And you can also subscribe to it on YouTube. You can watch it, you can listen to it. You can use Apple, you can use Spotify, you can use any of the podcatching tools you want. And then I think the upcoming one is Les, who writes it.
Les Pounder, yeah.
So
And
tune
his
in.
magical collection of boards.
Yep. And if you want, you can go to CircuitPythonShow.com. Sign up for the newsletter, get the episodes latest, learn about it, all that and more. If you want to be a guest on the show, go there, and you can even send your info in. We'll probably talk about some cool stuff you're doing with CircuitPython. And that is Python on Hardware newsletter recap this week.
Yay. Blinka, blinka.
Okay, ladyada, we're an open source hardware company.
It's true.
We do lots of things, and one of the outputs is open source hardware. To prove it, we post up our code. We put it under a license that you can share. We also do a bunch of learning guides. We have 2,630. What is on the big board this week?
Okay, so guys, this week, JP wrote a touch tone phone, dial a song. This is kind of neat because using, I think, a RP2040 Feather to read the keypad on a phone without making it so it's like damaged. You can always return it back to its old state. And then hooking into the speaker, so when you pick up the phone, it detects that the phone's picked up and it plays a dial tone. And then, plays the tones as you press the keys. There's all this sounds like not hard, but it actually is quite challenging to do. And when certain phone numbers are dialed, it'll play a song. So it's separate from the phone system, but it feels just like a normal phone. So it could be really fun for art projects or installations, or just if you want a phone to call up and you don't want to call anybody.
Okay.
We also did a guide on flippy floppies. If you have a standard Teak 5 1/4 drive, you want to use it to read flippy disks. Jepler wrote up a great little guide on how to use one of our optical sensors to self-detect the index pulse. And what's neat is that he has a little 3D printed case with a switch, and you can just flip back and forth, and you don't need any special software. It just magically works as a flippy disk when reading it with a fluxer. Liz also wrote a massive guide on MIDI for makers. Check it out. It's like everything. It's got great examples for MIDI on various boards with USB, with UART, with BLE, inputs, outputs, buttons, potentiometers. You got it. I think we added a note to the Feather Sense. I think maybe it's because it's got a SPM bug in Nordic SDK. We documented that. Noah and Pedro did a fun sketch drawing toy with CircuitPython, which is similar but not exactly the same as another etcher and sketcher type toy, which you may be familiar with. But this one is all in CircuitPython with TFTs and colors. And also more updates to the Feather ESP32S2 TFT Feather Guide.
All right, let's do some New York City factory footage. And it wouldn't be New York City factory footage without a view outside our front window. This is Disney. This is the new Disney hotel that everyone's talking about. Welcome to the Disney Hotel.
This is the Star Freighter.
This is right. This
is the...
this is Death Star under
this is the
construction.
Death Star
Do you want to go back to when we made the Death Star? That's right. Family packages are available. DeathStarDisney.com. Okay, let's do some 3D printing stuff. All right, we got 2 videos. We're going to play these back to back. This is the sketching thing. Sketch-like entity.
Sketcher and etcher.
The sketch-like entity. And then
Yeah.
we're going to do a cute speed up that has this little robot that goes down a ramp. Take it away now, Pedro.
Hey, what's up folks? In this project, we're making a sketch drawing toy with CircuitPython and 3D printing. We thought it'd be fun to make a simple sketch drawing toy using the Feather M4 and a 2.4-inch TFT feather wing. We designed a snap-fit case to house the electronics and added a rechargeable battery to make it portable. The TFT feather wing features extra header pins, so the wiring is relatively nice and neat. It's running CircuitPython and uses the Display I/O library to draw pixels on the TFT display. You can use the 2 knobs to move the cursor up, down, left, and right. The toggle switch lets you do a pen up and down so you can turn off drawing to make separate shapes. Clearing the screen is done with a simple press of a button. The code for this project was written in CircuitPython by Carter Nielsen. You can easily customize the code by changing the values in the user config section, like the background color or the sketch scale. We think it's a great jump-off point for folks who want to add more features or if you're just getting started. CircuitPython makes it easy to jump in and get your projects up and running. I designed the case in CAD and used several models of the electronics. 3D models of the feather and the display are available to download so you can use them in your projects. Be sure to check out the Learn Guide for full tutorial on building your own sketch drawing toy. We hope this inspires you to get started with CircuitPython and make fun projects. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe for more projects from Adafruit.
And don't forget every single Wednesday at 11 a.m. 3D Hangouts where you can learn to make all this stuff and more with Noe and Pedro. All right, ladyada, before we go into INMPI, just a reminder, WizKids code, we got to pay bills sometimes.
Yeah.
So we use regular old money too. They're not taking pictures of
Pigeons.
pigeons and penguins yet. We don't have any of those anyways. But please use the code and you save some stuff. Like
10%
10%.
on everything in the store.
And you get free stuff too. Okay, let's do INPI.
That's right.
on MPI.
This week's INPI is from Challenge Electronics.
Yes.
Ladyada, what is INPI this week?
I'm always excited to have a new company to feature on INPI. Not that I don't love the Maxims and the Analogs and the TIs, but I also like to support and promote the smaller companies. And Challenge Electronics, they make piezos, speakers, boxes, enclosures, battery holders, and stuff. And they're in upstate New York.
Oh, yeah?
Well, they're in New York at least. So this week's INPI is their series of waterproof battery holders. And check it out, it even says on it, waterproof battery holders. These are IP65 battery holders in a couple different configurations. So we stock battery holders like this in the Adafruit shop. You know, a lot of electronics these days are sealed, you know, rectangles with a built-in li-poly battery and charger, and that does make them, you know, usually less expensive, harder to mess up, but it also means it's really hard to change out the batteries. You know, if you have an old phone and you have to change out the battery, you usually have to go to like a specialty place, or you like put it in the microwave, or like the heating thing in the microwave and remove it. But you know, if your product or project uses AA or AAA batteries, it's going to be a lot more field or user replaceable, which could be important. Also, the leakage on an alkaline battery can be a lot lower than a li-poly battery. So there are definitely times, and like lithium batteries work very well in cold temperatures. So there's definitely times when alkaline batteries, or AA, AAA batteries are the way to go. The only problem with these open battery cases is they're inexpensive, but it's easy for dust and moisture to get in. And so this is actually a battery corrosion because the battery is corroded. I found this photo on Flickr. But the idea is similar. You know, water gets in, you've got these contacts, they're metal, there's metal on metal contacts, they get oxidized, they get damp, they get dirty, and then the batteries make bad connectivity. So not good. Also, usually the contacts are another way to get you know, water into your electronics. So, you know, what if we had a battery case that was more waterproof? So this is the CAB series. They come in 2 times AAA, 2 times AA, and 3 times AA. All of them are IP65. I'll show them on the overhead in a little bit, but they've got 4 screws, and they've got red and black cables coming out about 6 inches or 8 inches there. And you know, to remove the batteries, you unscrew it, but you know, the whole thing is IP65, so it's nice and durable, good for your dustproofness or waterproofness. And here is the ingress protection ratings guide. So one thing to note is that IP65 is dustproof and good against jets of water, but it is not good for dunking underwater. So this isn't like for your pool, but this would be good for outdoor, you know, something that's in the weather, basically, something that has rain, you know, jets of water coming at it. Let's say you want to make a LoRa sensor node and you want it to transmit data only once in a while. You want a battery powered off of AA or AAA so people can come by every month and replace the batteries. It's user or field replaceable. This would be a really good battery pack because it could be outside, nicely protected, and very easy to open up when you need to access the batteries. Come in multiple sizes, and they're all in stock, so you can
available on DigiKey. Oh my gosh, things are in stock. This is what is the challenge for a lot of things when we want to showcase them on our shows now, because one, sometimes they're really popular and not in stock. Sometimes it's our fault. People will say, I really want that, and then they buy them all up. But this time, this is a new company that we're spotlighting.
Yes. So let's go to the overhead, and I'll show it off really quickly. I just want to show how this is put together. So this is, I have one of each. This is the 2 AA, and this is a 3 AA. So you open it very easily. You just use a Phillips screwdriver to open it up. I like the 4 screws because it really, I'll show the gasket inside. This makes really good contact. And they're nice stainless steel machine screws as well. And then you can see here, there's this little rubber gasket. So this part has a lip. You can kind of see here, there's this kind of, hold on, it's tough to see because it's so small. There is like a little lip here, if you can see that. And, oh, actually it's a little easier to see on the bottom. See this little lip here, this little groove? This groove fits into this groove here, which has a rubber bit inside, and it's a solid piece of rubber that goes all the way around, and that's what gives it that, you know, protection. As long as you screw it down, the lip bites into the rubber, and the rubber is what makes the seal. So if you're going to get waterproof stuff or weatherproof stuff, make sure that it has a rubber gasket. You know, it's not enough to just use, you know, plastic overlap. That's not water, jet, or dust safe. But these look very well made, really nice, good contacts, good spring, even says challenge on the inside. And if you need a custom sized one, I think they do their molding here in New York. They can probably hook you up. So quote them if you need D-cell or 9 volt, or maybe you want 4 times AAA. They can make a custom one for you.
Okay, and that's this week's Ion MPI.
On MPI.
Okay, we're going to do new products. Before you do new products, don't forget the code is BizKit. You can start loading up the cart now, and don't forget you get a bunch of free stuff the more you add to your cart. Okay,
Yes.
Are you ready, Lady Ada?
I'm ready.
All right, hit
New,
it.
new, 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 new.
All right, you're probably wondering why the code was WizKit, but here's why.
Yeah. So this is a kit from, it's called the RFID Wiz, and this is from Smooth Technology. Smooth Technology actually, the main designer used to be an Adafruit peep, so it's great to see folks going off and designing their own kits, and then we get to stock it. So they do a lot of escape rooms and installation and art exhibits, and there's a lot of things where it's like you want a card that will turn something on or off. Like it's like, you know, when you touch something to something else, something happens. And, you know, if you know Arduino, yeah, it's not too hard to code up, but a lot of people, they don't want to do all the wiring and the relay and, you know, the protection circuit and all that stuff. So this is a board that has an ATtiny on it, and you can see it plugs into, the red board is an RFID reader, and the blue button is the program button. So what you can do is you hold a card over it and you hold down the learn button, and it learns about that card. And then you see when she moves the card back and forth, the green light indicates, and you can't hear the relay because it's a GIF, not a movie. But the relay is turning on and off. And so it's really, really easy way. You just power it with 12 volts. You get a relay out. The relay can do, I think, 240 volts up to maybe, 250 volts AC up to 10 amps. So you can control pretty significant equipment with it. Basically just use this for art projects, installations, museums, escape rooms, automation inside your home.
Yeah, and on the product page, there's a couple videos that are linked in the photos. Just click through and you can see both of them. They put together some really good videos.
Yes.
Next up.
Okay, next up we have a stemma cutification of the ADXL 343. So this is a revision. This board is still red. This was a collaboration project between us and DigiKey and Analog Devices before they, Analog Devices is still Analog Devices. That's why it's red, because ADI and DigiKey both like the color red. And this features the ADXL 343. It's very, very, very similar to the ADXL 345, but it's very affordable. Now comes in a stemma QT format with 2 stemma QT ports, so it's plug and play. This is a great, solid triple axis accelerometer. I really, really suggest this for like rock solid performance. You don't get weird flaky behavior. It's like tried and true. This is like a decade old or more, 15-year-old accelerometer chip for Analog Devices. So it's well established. Does I think 2, 4, and 16 plus or minus G. It's on the back actually. Can you go? Yeah, sorry, plus minus 2, 4, 8, and 16 G. So good for every all-around purpose accelerometering.
All right, next up.
We've also got a new revision for the ESP32S2 QT Py. This board came out. It was good, but I made a little mistake on the low power mode for deep sleep. It's been fixed. I also rotated the antenna, so it's pointing out, and get like 3 dB better gain. So, more gain is better gain. Otherwise, it's the same, so it's just upgraded and updated. It's adorable. It can run CircuitPython. It can run Arduino. It's got 4 megabytes of flash, 2 megabytes of PSRAM, all inside that little chip. So a great little board if you want to have a miniature Arduino or CircuitPython Wi-Fi capable microcontroller that's like fingernail sized.
All right, and the star of the show tonight, besides you, Lady, our community, our customers, our team here at Adafruit, and everyone who helps run the shows and all the things here and more is...
Yay, it's a TFT. People love TFTs. This is a 1.9-inch IPS TFT, which means it's very visible from all angles. It's truly a rectangle. I know we've done a couple round rec displays, but this is a rectangular display. It's 170 by 320 pixels, so it's quite a few pixels. It's got kind of this like kind of longish view, but could be useful for some people. It's got 4 mounting holes. And pads on the bottom. You can solder it into a breadboard like this and wire it up, and then you can use, it's running the ST7789 chipset, so you can use it with Arduino or CircuitPython. Honestly, the ST7789 is so popular now, pretty much anything that supports a TFT will support this TFT. Just have to set the width and height. On the back, it's got a micro SD card slot, so if you want to use that to store like GIFs or images or animations or whatnot, you can do that. And there's also an iSpy connector. We're going to be doing more stuff with iSpy, but we're getting started with just making sure that all of the boards that we ship have this connector, so people, it's kind of like a stemma for SPI displays. Make it very easy for people to snap open and connect a TFT without doing all the breadboard wiring.
All right, you want to show it off?
Yeah, I thought I could show it off real fast on the overhead. This is it with a SAMD21 Cutie Pie. So it's a nice crisp display. As you can see, it's IPS, and so it's very visible. You don't get any of the color. It gets a little darker because it's not as close to the camera. But it doesn't have color distortion up to plus minus 80 degrees. Full color display, I don't know, it's kind of nice. It's a nice little size. 170 by 320 pixels. It could be good for like a little text output or a control interface.
Okay, and that is new products this week.
New.
Okay, I'm going to do the code again. WizKit. It all makes sense now.
Yes.
All right, we're going to show some top secret, but while we're doing that, load up your questions in the chat, adafruit.it/discord. Join all of us. Even if we're not there, you can post questions up, and our team is there usually almost 24/7, but we're there a lot. And you can also post on our forums. You can contact customer support. There's lots of ways to connect with us, and we'll also keep you excited and hopefully inspired all throughout the week, each week, as we do our things.
We're still standing.
Yeah, but for now, let's do some top secret.
Yeah. All right. Get out of the vault here. What's in the vault today? I don't even know.
Well, you do, because you
Did I did it?
you filmed it. So
Oh, yeah.
we have the low power thing, and then we have the Linux Feather.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play the first video, and then we'll play the Linux Feather thing. Yeah, all right, good.
All right, ladyada, what is this?
Hey, I'm working on Rev C of my ESP32S2 Feather. And you might be wondering, well, why did I have to revise this? Well, I kind of messed up the power stuff a little bit because I used, I had the pull-up resistors connected to the 3-volt line, and I'm switching on and off the power. But if you look here at my PPK output, my power never really gets below about 720 microamps, which is really, really high. If you look at my oscilloscope, the voltage never gets below 1.3 because I'm getting that leakage voltage from the 2, 5, 10K pull-ups. They're kind of self-powering or back-powering the I2C bus. So with Rev C, I switched it to use a regulator. So when I swap out to this Rev C PCB with the exact same code, first thing is you see that the voltage definitely goes between 3 volts and ground. And on the power test, zoom in.
And a whole lot of people wanted a Linux Feather, so here's a little bit of a preview.
I know, well,
what is
there's
this?
already been. This is an all-winner F1C200S. It's the big sister of the F1C100S. This is one of those kind of famous all-in-one Linux on a chip type things. It's actually got RAM built in. All it needs is some external NOR flash and maybe an SD card. And it's like a full Linux computer. It's not a very fast one. But, it may be enough to run some simple Python scripts. So I thought it would be fun to design a feather. So I started the schematic capture with an SD card, micro USB host. And so I'm starting to lay it out where you'd have a CP2104 for the serial console. Maybe it would be battery powered. Wouldn't last a long time on a battery, but you could run it on a battery. Micro USB host out here, and then start to get all the other components going. And I think the micro SD card will be on the bottom. So Linux Feather could be coming soon.
Okay, you were saying.
Sorry, I was so excited. I actually wanted to make a Linux Feather for a really long time. I got these MediaTek modules a long time ago. But what I like about this is it's very inexpensive, and like there's people who've used this chip. There's like this Linux business card, and there's build support for it. So I thought it could be a good start because it's inexpensive enough that if it doesn't work out, I don't feel too bad about it.
Okay. And that's top secret for the week. All right, rolling right into questions. We have a few lined up.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You can answer this because top secret, we don't always answer questions about it. 'Cause we used to call it, it's not out yet, don't ask. But then we have like top secret because there's these things. But
I know,
anyways,
yeah.
Earlier today, yes, we showed off a Linux Feather board. In the works is going to be a 2-layer board.
I don't know yet.
Don't know yet. Okay. Next up, is there a resource to use to figure out the name of various connectors from pictures? I like to buy various pigtails for landscape power supplies used in holiday inflatable decorations, and it's difficult to find matching connectors when the power supply fails.
It's really hard. I don't really know anyway, other than just experience. There's no visual like machine learning thing so far that's been good at identifying it because there's these such little details to look for. I would just post it in electronics forum and just say, hey, does anyone know what this connector is? Honestly, people do that to me, and I usually can like point out what it is.
Sometimes they tag us and we can figure it out. I just put in my Adafruit order for my dog's new collar. Yay! Is it possible and affordable to have a custom flexible surface mount PCB made? I would go inside Corey's collar, I guess that's the name of the dog, with the micro, GPS, and LoRa modules and spread out for thinness. It would be neat to surface mount the parts, then hand wire them.
It's tough because I think wouldn't recommend it because honestly, a flex PCB is not meant to be flexed. It's meant to be like flexed once in a hard case. It's not meant to be actually twisted. It would crack. So even though it's annoying to wire stuff, I think if you use silicone wires, I think you'll actually be happier in the long run.
Okay. Good advice from ladyada. All right, question. You showed the ESP doing video out while a simple connection. Any plans on a breakout, something like a backpack, feather wing, or could the pin be manipulated to go to a quick connector or to a breakout?
Yeah, that actually goes out on the DAC pin, and I don't know if we would do a featherwing. It's actually quite simple. You just Google for like ESP32 NTSC output, or wait till JP writes a guide. It's like literally like 2 resistors and an RCA jack. So not sure if we'll make a custom hardware for it, but you can pretty much free wire it.
Okay. Next up, is it relatively easy to upload a bootloader to the RP2040 chip? I want to design a board from scratch. I previously loaded bootloaders on a few different AVR chips.
You don't have to because the bootloader is built into ROM. Weird, huh? You can't brick it. You can't delete it. If you hold down the CS pin while it's powered, it will automatically enter a USB bootloader mode. Super freaky, but it does work really well. And it's UF2 compatible, which is great.
Yes. Next up, will a touchscreen version of the new 1.9-inch TFT display become available? Are there touchscreens of the size feasible and useful?
I don't know. If one comes available, I'll definitely take a look at it. I haven't seen anything yet.
Okay. The redesigned ESP32 S2 boards, are they otherwise equivalent to the prior ones already sold except for the lower power draw and deep sleep, so longer battery life?
Yeah, for the QT Py ESP32 S2, they'll have much longer battery life if you're using deep sleep mode. If you're not using deep sleep mode, then the battery life doesn't matter. Like it's only in that particular low power sleep mode that the power consumption was much higher than it should be, and it's now fixed.
All right. What kind of flexible connectors are used in older slider and flip phones?
They really did all use flex. I mean, flex PCBs have been around for a lot longer than you think. They were making them in the 70s. They were just very expensive. They use flex PCBs, polyamide PCBs, just like we use now.
Will the feather be denoted in the catalog pages?
I'm sorry.
I think that means the Linux feather. Will it be? Yeah, once we have it, it'll be there.
Yeah,
but
we'll have a feather.
But right now, it's not there yet.
It doesn't exist. I just started the schematic.
It's in here.
It's in there.
And it gets
to only get it out, you have to put pad thai in.
Yeah. All right. What's your preferred connector for single wires and small gauge wires, bullet, spade, along those lines?
I'm actually liking the JSTSHs I'm using for quick connectors. They're very small and compact. They're 1 millimeter. You can hand solder them, and you can fit a lot of pins in 1 millimeter pitch.
Okay. Do you think a guide for discontinued products could be useful? I get bummed when saving up and it's bye-bye. Maybe it's cheaper to build. Rambling. Thank you for your sharing and encouraging. So I think I will say, if I understand this question, is it good to document something? The answer is always yes. So even if you have a discontinued product or project, you should document it and get it out there because you never know who's going to need it later, there's a lot of good reasons to publish.
Yeah, and we pretty much do not discontinue stuff if we can keep making it. The only time we discontinue is if we can't get it. Like, you cannot get a Pi Zero right now. So it's like, it's not discontinued, it's just totally unavailable.
Yeah.
Or like, you know, we had a really cute cat lamp kit, and the company, like, their website's gone. Like they just poof into thin air. And that does happen about, you know, once or twice a month. We contact a company that we buy stuff from, and they don't reply to us. And there's really no warning, unfortunately. It just kind of happens. It's part of life. But you know, anything that we manufacture in-house, as long as we can get the components, we will continue manufacturing it until we get less than like 10 sales a year.
Yeah. Okay. I've been experimenting with the 40-pin RGB TFT friend and some microcontrollers. Do you know of any experiments done with driving such displays with RP2040 or ESP32?
The ESP32 doesn't have enough pins. The RP2040 might, I think it's probably a demo for driving, you know, TTL displays, or if not, it could be done with PIOs, but you would have to do it in like 3-color mode. Like, you wouldn't be able to drive all 16 or 24-bit color because there's not enough pins. So you'd probably drive it like 9-bit color, or maybe like 12-bit color, where you just like tie the low pins to ground. And it could be possible, but it doesn't have a native support. I think the ESP32 S3 might have TTL output support. You just need a hell of a lot of pins, and so it's quite rare.
Okay. And then do you think the price of OLEDs will ever come down?
No, OLEDs are just expensive. They're much more expensive than TFTs. It's just they're cool looking, but they're just more expensive.
All right.
So actually, sometimes you'll see, like, you know, on your like little cell phone hotspot, it looks like an OLED, but it's actually a TFT. Like, to make it look more expensive, they have the TFT in monochrome mode.
Yeah.
It's like, makes no sense, but they want it to look like an OLED because like old style hotspots used to use OLEDs.
Yeah.
It's kind of freaky.
And those are questions.
That's questions.
All right, that is our show for tonight. Thank you so much, everyone. We're getting out of here at 9 o'clock on the dot tonight. We got a bunch of stuff to do.
Yay.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We very much appreciate it. Don't forget, the code is WizKit, 10% off in the Adafruit store. You get free stuff, like all these things, when you fill your cart up with goodies.
Stay tuned. More cool hardware is coming.
We have a lot going on, a lot of videos coming up, a lot of new hardware. We are designing and redesigning a bunch of things. Special thanks to Jesse May behind the scenes in the Adafruit Slack chat and more. And just wanted to say, sending out good, peaceful vibes. Hopefully we can all come together and find ways to connect with one another. You know, everyone makes something, and it's been a tough couple years, and I'm hoping we can all get together and continue the movement towards peace and building.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll see everybody next week. Thanks so much. This has been an Adafruit production. This is your moment of Zener.
Have a great week, everyone.
Ще банки працюють, то як це не. Як там гроші?